Hi there, it's Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com here with Mondays. Look what we just woke up to. I have not checked many of the comments on my last video I did last night. If you go and check that out, I laid out why I think that Fetchlands should be reprinted in Modern Masters 2017, and lo and behold, we wake up and see, yes, Fetchlands are being reprinted in Modern Masters 2017. I laid out my proposal that they should be a land slot instead of a foil slot, and man, that could actually happen. Look how many lands are here. I don't think that that's going to be the case, just because I don't know, I think that they want the foils so bad, but look how many lands. I guess this is sustainable at commons. I mean, these are uncommon, rare, common, but man, that's bad news for some of the other lands in the set. I bet we're going to see Mazes End, but Grove and Horizon Canopy, is there going to be enough room just to jam those in, as well as Caverns of Souls? So, anyway, if you haven't checked out my last video, excuse the whole giddiness here. I like it when I actually am right about something, but this is some good news and some bad news. Here's the bad news. Frontier is going to struggle. I am not one of those people that's just going to hype up something and be unrealistic about something just because I love or want to push a format. So I guess it's just being open and honest with, I've invested in Frontier, so huge transparency. Invested is a kind of a, we'll say little I, not big I, because I haven't spent a ton of money on particular investments. I've spent a lot on Kolgan's Commands, and I think I bought 4 playsets of Kolgan's Commands. I've bought over like 50 copies of Hardened Scales just because that card was I was getting it at $1.25. And it wasn't even Frontier that was really pushing the value of Hardened Scales. It was just all of the casual decks and some of like the modern / commander / those things that were pushing up the value of Hardened Scales. So that was just a no-brainer. And that's where I tried to invest in as far as Frontier, is if the format did die, I'd still be okay. So that's just full transparency where I'm coming from. The last thing I want is just dumb rumors out there saying that I'm pushing a format that I don't like, kind of what the Tiny Leaders people did do. Now, Tiny Leaders, for those of you that don't know, they were actually caught. The creators of Tiny Leaders were caught speculating before they released the format. And that's why a lot of people have this like really negative outlook towards Frontier, because they think that people were doing the exact same thing as the greedy Tiny Leaders group did about that. So I just want to be incredibly transparent and open and honest. And unfortunately, this is really, really bad news for Frontier, because that means that a cycle of Fetchlands will not be finished in Standard, meaning that they'll never be able to enter into Frontier. And it leaves us in a very, very awkward position of where some decks will just be played because the mana is just better in those decks. I think we're seeing it right now. It's a lot easier to play more of the ally-colored strategies rather than the enemy. Well, I don't know. We do have the upside of having the fast lands and having the enemy-colored pain lands, enemy fast and enemy pain lands in Frontier. So I guess that could sort of balance out, and you could make the argument that, hey, now the mana base is always going to be screwed up for ally and for enemy. But the biggest problem, too, with even having now a format that goes Origins forward is the enemy-colored lands are so much better fixing, because we have both the enemy-colored pain lands and the enemy-colored fast lands, and now we won't have any ally-colored fetch lands to help fix for the ally colors. So it's going to make a very, very awkward time going forward for either an Origins forward type Frontier format or a Khans of Tarkir or M15 type forward format. And so I don't know where to go from here. I absolutely love the format. I think it's one of the most the most deep formats I've ever played. It really reminds me of when Modern was when its early infant stages, without some of the very broken things that were happening in Modern. Because of going 8th edition forward, it just had some shenanigans from the set. But so that's me being honest. I'm going to back off from Frontier for a little bit. I'll still play it, but I don't want to go all into a format that might not have a chance of ever really coming to fruition. So if a lot of you may know too, I have a bet with MTG headquarters that whoever at Modern Masters, or not Modern Masters, at GP Vegas, if Frontier is dead by GP Vegas, I owe him dinner. If Frontier is thriving by GP Vegas, he owes me dinner. So unfortunately, it looks like I'm probably buying someone dinner. Womp womp. Anyway, back to the spoilers. The other spoilers we've got is Goblin Guide here, and we have Damnation. And Restoration Angel. We all know that I think that there will be some sort of angel-based strategy. That's why Stoic Angel is the perfect card to reprint as far as design is concerned in the Modern Masters 2017 because it's both an angel for the Angel Tribal and it's a 3-color deck for the Return to Ravnica 3-colored theme that looks like we're going to get specific cards for that. I expect Noble Hierarch to be reprinted to help support this sort of theme, and I expect some other, Bomb Angels to be reprinted in the following days. Probably thinking of something like Sigarda because it's both into the green, and then we might get something like what's a blue angel, illusionary angel, or what's that angel? Just a filler uncommon, and then we'll basically have the theme from Avacyn Restored for angels. We might get the theme for demons. One of them's also been spoiled. So Goblin Guide's a huge reprint. This is going to help elevate the price of Burn. We'll look at, as things go on, again, I'll talk about this in the on the Market Monday video, exactly how this is going to impact like a lot of prices. If Goblin Guide ends up being like the single card that gets reprinted for Burn and some of the other very specific cards do not get reprinted, I think that going into like Boros Charm and Tarka's Command is a pretty good, hey, I guess we'll just turn this into Market Monday. I think that Goblin Guide will be a very, very good, or Tarka's Command and the cards like Boros Charm are very good pickups because this is once again going to be the cheap deck for people to get into. Even Mono Red Burn is something that's very accessible if the price of Goblin Guide goes down. I mean, we can really start looking at that. Yeah, I'm just going to transition over to a Market Monday video. So here are the spoilers. I'll get prepared and actually look at the things before I start talking out of the side of my mouth here for Market Monday. And we'll just go right into that video. So be expecting that soon. I'll get working on it. This has been Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com. Thanks for watching.